If I were to say the number one thing a new brewer needs to master, it would be cleaning and sanitizing. It's the number one thing that can make or break your beer. A clean brewing system means a clean and tasty beer, and this is where many beginner brewers make mistakes. But today, I'm going to show you just how easy it can be to clean and sanitize your equipment so you can make the beer you want to. I'm Trent Musho, and this is The Brew Show. Let's clean and sanitize. As I mentioned, a clean brewery is important because we want to be able to control the fermentation to get the flavors we desire. Without proper cleaning techniques, you can risk getting an infected beer with other wild yeasts and bacteria. And while you won't get sick from an infected beer, it certainly might not taste good. I've been there, and I'm not going back. First, let's break down the two main terms I'm using: cleaning and sanitizing. Cleaning is the process of removing dirt, grime, and overall gunk from your equipment, while sanitizing is the means of reducing the microbial life to a safe level. This is different from sterilizing, which is when you completely remove all microbes to 0%. Sterilization is not necessary for homebrewing. Cleaning and sanitizing are the 1-2 punch to make sure no nasty bacteria grow on your gear or in your beer. Cleaning. To clean, there are a few products that are best. Brew Cleaner is a product specifically made for brewing. I use PBW, or Powdered Brewery Wash, which is a powdered alkali solution that you mix with hot water and soak your equipment with. Then you just scrub with a soft pad and wash it away with water. It's a bit more expensive than other options, but you know exactly what you're getting, and it's made specifically for brewing. Some people also use OxiClean. I know my buddy CH at Homebrew for Life swears by it. He has a video on how he uses it, so check that out if you're interested. There are other brands and options of brew cleaners. I recommend doing some research to see what works best for you. But again, PBW is easiest in my opinion. And whatever you do, avoid soaps as a cleaner. They have oils and sometimes fragrances that can stick around even after rinsing. The oils can negatively impact the head retention or foam of your beer, and the fragrances can ruin the overall flavor and aroma. Now I'll show you an example of how I clean my equipment. I use PBW mainly on my kettle after a brew day, fermenter after the beer is complete, and my kegs, tubings, and bottles after I'm done drinking the beer. I use the directed dosing on the back of the package, 1 ounce per gallon of hot water. The hotter, the better this stuff dissolves and works. And then let it soak anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes or up to 4 hours, depending on how tough the soil is. It's always best to clean your equipment as soon as you're done using it. The longer you let the mess stay on the gear, the harder it will be to remove it. So make a habit of cleaning as soon as you're done. Once it is soaked for a bit, I come in with a soft sponge or rag to help scrub off any remaining dirt. If you have a really stuck mess, then a stiff bristle brush will do the trick. Just don't go in with anything too hard on plastics, or you could scratch the plastic and make a perfect little hiding spot for more bacteria to grow in the future. Then just rinse it all out with some water and you'll be ready to use it next time. Another great use for PBW is to help with removing bottle labels. Just soak your bottles in it and you'll see how easily the labels peel off. Plus it helps clean your bottles. Sanitization. There are a bunch of products to help sanitize, but my favorite is Star San. Star San is an acid-based sanitizer that doesn't need to be rinsed out. To me, it's the easiest to use, and it has an easy measurement tool on it, which makes it pretty foolproof. Iodophor is another great product, and some say that it actually does a better job than Star San. But it can stain your plastics with a yellow color, so keep that in mind. Diluted bleach is another popular choice, but if you do use it, you have to rinse it thoroughly, and I prefer the no-rinse solution so that I can ensure it's still sanitized. Here's how I sanitize my equipment. I use Star San on anything that comes into contact with my wort or beer after the boil on a brew day, through packaging after fermentation. Any bacteria that touched the wort before the boil will be killed off, but once it's cooled down, it's a prime spot for harboring wild yeast and bacteria. So on brew day, I make a big batch of Star San to the ratios on the bottle. I make it in my fermenter to make sure it's sanitized, and then I usually put a little bit of the solution into a spray bottle. A spray bottle will be your best friend. You can spray down equipment and tabletops to make your life easier. The best way to make Star San is to use distilled water when mixing it. The low mineral count in distilled water will keep the Star San powers active for longer, which is perfect for keeping in a spray bottle at all times. Then, while the beer is fermenting, anything that touches it, whether that's a hydrometer, refractometer, or a hopstock, must be sanitized. Finally, on packaging day, again, everything that touches the beer, like siphon, tubing, bottles, bottle caps, and kegs, must be sanitized. It may seem like a lot to think about, but really just remind yourself that after the boil, you gotta sanitize. Some myths and common misconceptions. One thing I often see is new brewers saying, "Screw the cleaning, I'm just going to sanitize. It will kill the bacteria." It doesn't work. Sanitizing doesn't clean dirt, and cleaner doesn't sanitize your gear. You must use both to ensure you don't infect your beer. Some professional brew cleaners have caustic properties and can actually burn you, so be sure to read up on them. But PBW is not a caustic. I stick my hands in it when cleaning and I just wash my hands after. But if you want to use gloves, that's totally fine. Just read the safety instructions of your cleaner before using. With Star San, as the company says themselves, don't fear the foam. So if you see the foam after sanitizing, don't worry about it. You can let it touch your beer. There have actually been studies showing that pouring Star San into your beer has no negative impact on it. Lastly, don't be afraid your beer will harm you. If you use these items, you will ensure you come out with a consistent and clean product. So to recap, clean your gear after using it and then sanitize it before letting your post-boil beer touch it. It's a simple concept that if you make it a habit to check before each time you brew, then it will become second nature, and you'll be on your way to making amazing beer. If you have any questions about cleaning and sanitizing, be sure to let me know. And while you're here, check out some of my other videos. My goal is to make home brewing simplified.